Yeah, Helpful says let's rename TR Production to GR to TR. Definitely, it definitely should have been. It should have
But
been there.
I would say I mean, Gene may have been whatever he was, but there's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Gene Griffin. Gene Griffin was, I'm not saying he did everything right, but he made some connections and he put Teddy in the right rooms. He put him in the right rooms. So
would we have had New Jack Swing the way we did, and the development of it if Gene Griffin wasn't around? I don't know.
Highly unlikely. You never know. But
we would have had it.
So we would have had it. We've got to give the guys respect, really.
Give him no credit. Timmy Gatlin and Teddy together would have been bigger than anyone, because Timmy is writing. Because what Teddy doesn't write, so Timmy would write, Teddy's producing, and then Aaron would do some writing as well. So they would have. Look at what Timmy did after they broke up. So just imagine all of that stuff, all that creativity. Timmy thought GR production was Gatlin Riley production. That would have been, and he could have helped manage them, but he broke things off for himself. And Teddy was just producing stuff, and then and then moving on to the next. Yeah. I've listened to too many people. What do you think would have happened
then? Say Gene was out the pit, guy signed to MCA. We've say
they were already signed to Uptown. Everything was already set. It's just that
what would have happened to Guy then? What do you think would have happened?
They would have blown up. The second single would have been After Groove Me instead of Merry Go Round of Love. Because Gene,
I think
it would have been far better without Gene. The only people think that they've credited him for was he was into fashion, and that's what Damon and Timmy have all said. Even Carell have all said it. Stylistically, he brought a lot of fashion. But outside of that, he just ruined a generation.
Wow.
And if I had not listened to, and I encourage anyone to listen to that amazing podcast. Is it New Jack? I can't remember what it's called. Jacked. It is so hard. It's called Jacked. It's so heartbreaking to find out that Teddy and Marsha were dating. And he deliberately broke them up because he was afraid that she would tell Teddy what he was doing, and he had Teddy sleeping around with other people, and leave her. So I discredit him, because I think he destroyed, and his legacy is one of thuggery and thievery. He trained Suge Knight, who extended all of that. So anytime I see his name, I cross it out. No one has said anything great about him, and so I will never do so.
Who did we have last time? Who came on that podcast that we had? Idris came on. So he was saying what he said about Gene, but Gene did open doors, and I think that's a conversation. Things played out the way they did, and I understand why you're saying what you're saying, and most people on the chat are saying don't want to give Gene any respect whatsoever or props. But he opened doors, and I agree with Ezekiel's comment. You've said that Teddy did Classical 2 and B-Fats. He did lots of production without Gene, but
he did all the Heavy D stuff without Gene. He did all the Kumo D and all the stuff with Big Daddy Kane. The show he did all without Gene. Did The Dangerous without Gene.
Yeah, but what
did Keith Sweat's debut album without Gene?
Doors were open, is what I'm saying. Like a lot of doors.
Tell me, and all those doors that are open.
Like you talk about thuggery.
Which of those? And which of them was successful? All the GR stuff. Which of them blew up? All the stuff Gene got for Teddy. Which blew up?
What do you mean? Say that. What do you mean?
Which of them was successful? Which of them sustained? Anything that Gene touched. We talk about abstract here. You got Deja. None of them blew up.
I tell you what. In all the years you've been doing halftime chat, Nnamdi, this is your most hard and defined opinion that you've ever come out with, and I'm blown away, mate.
No, it isn't.
You don't rarely hear a Nnamdi hardcore opinion. He sits on the he likes to just, like you say, keep opinions to himself when he's doing interviews. We're getting the real Nnamdi thoughts. This is a great discussion, guys. Because we're getting your. I'm taking on board what you're saying as well, VJ. Both very, very valid points. You do make some. It did open doors, but like you say, what was, and to counteract that, what was successful out of it, and it's hard. What was successful? The odd thing here and there, Teddy had his success after GR, didn't he?
He did.
GR and before GR. Yeah. All his biggest stuff was after and before.
If Gene weren't in the picture in the early days, what would have happened to Teddy and Guy? And
exactly what you've said there. Because in any journey in life, in anybody's life, you take any individual's life, that person is as a result of their good and bad experiences. They have turned out how they have. Now, Gene Griffin guided things a particular way. Now, you're right. Like, abstract is not revered as much as, say, it could have been. Yeah, you mentioned Deja. There's Starpoint. There's a ton of other projects we could
even
talk about.
Basic Black. Yeah,
Basic Black, 100%. But I think that was a necessary thing at that moment in time to guide Teddy to the next step. And Teddy had to go through that to then say, okay, then create the song that Stevie doesn't like, Gotta Be a Leader. We don't like that running loop. Let's get rid of that.
I never said I didn't like. I said the abstract track. Not
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood. I misunderstood. But my point is, it took Teddy to that point where him and Aaron and Damien and Akil created Gotta Be a Leader to say, hey, enough of this. We are moving on from this. But it was a lesson that needed to be learned. And I think that's invaluable. And I don't think this story would have been the same without Gene Griffin. Gene needed to be the protagonist in this. Gene needed to be there. And when we get a chance to interview Akil and Markel, we should definitely bring up the Gene Griffin side of the conversation, because I had he's passed away now, but Akil's cousin, a guy called Big Al, Alan Davidson, he used to talk about Gene, like some very interesting stories about Gene and the good things that Gene did. And obviously there's some bad things, but I think it was a necessary thing. You needed to pass through that pathway to get to 1990, where we had the Future, and then we were excited. Then we had the Bobby and the Rex, and then the Michael and everything else.
I don't see Jam and Lewis talk about Prince firing them, and then they had to make it on their own. He didn't steal their money and stuff. LA and Babyface talk about Solar Records and Dick Griffey, being hard on them, but not to the point that Jam. They left scarred. It's only Teddy that would come in that $25 million worth of income was stolen from him, and that hardened him. He lost his trust in relationships and everything. I mean, Gene scarred Teddy, and there's no good came out of him being around.
Wow.
As I said, anytime I see his name on any credits,
I'm impressed with Nnamdi's hardcore opinions being.
No, that's great. No, that's great.
Whether you agree with or not, he's
you need these conversations. You need to have a conversation just like this, because Nnamdi, I understand why you've said everything you've said. I cannot fault your logic for saying what you've said, not one iota. But from my experience, every individual has to go through crap to become tougher, to become a little bit stronger. All of us have had some, there's been some situations where we feel hard done by. Those experiences make us stronger. And without those experiences, we would be weaker. Teddy came out of that GR relationship super strong, man. That boy smashed the shit out of that baseball right out of the park, and he's like, see ya. My name is Teddy Riley. If you didn't know my name,
it's true, because he doesn't take any shit now, does he?
But it didn't.
He don't really take,
But the thing is that it didn't have to be.
through that experience, he's incredibly wary of people, isn't he? Incredibly wary of anyone getting any close to him. That's that I get the vibe with him.
So I mean, as I said, I think the first 6 months of doing this show and hearing all these stories about being cheated and everything, every artist, it was the most heartbreaking thing to hear. And then when I keep listening I reflect on Teddy's situation and realize how much it was taken from him. So you look at his contemporaries like Jermaine Dupri and the rest, how they had much smoother paths, or LA and Babyface or Jam and Lewis, that they were able to set their stuff up. And Teddy was constantly scarred about that, not owning his own things. But as I said, we can't change the past. And but I've not seen, and even when he left when Guy kicked him away, he couldn't produce the magic with Basic Black or any group afterwards. I think Basic Black's album was much better than The Future. I prefer that great album, but Gene didn't know how to produce.
That's another interesting conversation. I want to have that conversation properly with you one day. Why you feel Basic Black's album is better than coming out now? And
I would 10 times more likely buy the Basic Black debut album than The Future. However, Gene did not know how to promote it. That shows me it was all talk but no action. He didn't know how to even get the deal.
Or was it Motown's?
No, it was Gene. But Gene stopped
the record label. The record label's job was to promote that album.
Yeah, the record label.
Yeah, but but he stood in the way in everything. He stood in the. They did not want to release "Merry Go Round of Love" as the second single for the Guy album. He pushed that out, but that song. The song failed because he had a little writing credit and Timmy wasn't on that, and it failed. And then they had to go around. So you can see how he sabotaged that. He made himself the fourth member of Guy. So he's not shown any success.
All he should have done was bring the pizzas to the studio. That's all he should have done.
I will
bring the pizzas to the studio and let him get on with it.
Nnamdi, on Sound of New York, he had many hits, man. He had many hits.
They dried up, didn't they? They dried up by the time
he got older. Like everything has a cycle. The Roman Empire was like it was the dog's nutsack for a little while, and then it wasn't.
He didn't even have success with Kids at Work, and all that competition was New Edition, and he couldn't even do anything with that. But anyway.
Wow,
we digress.
Wow, this is no, but we'll have this conversation. We're going to have this conversation again, and we'll have it. But fascinating. I'm loving this conversation. I'm loving it, Nnamdi.
This is the sort of stuff that comes out when we're offline. You're watching now. When we're off,
I'm loving this.
We have, and you're getting an insight into it now. You get an insight into it.
And Stevie, he's so passionate about it. And the thing is, Nnamdi, you've interviewed lots of people that have been around Gene Griffin, and a lot of people have told you a lot of things, and it's helped form your opinion.
What Nnamdi needs to hear, the other side, he needs to hear the other side of people around Gene Griffin that probably maybe got a better view of him, so he can then make a balanced opinion.
I wish, Nnamdi, if you'd ever had a chance to talk to Alan Davidson, you would have loved it. Because he was around from the beginning. He passed away some time ago now, but very interesting guy. And he was there he was at all of the video shoots. He was there when Guy were doing this. He's Akil's cousin, so he was there for all of the Rex and Effects stuff.
Wow.
You would have had a fascinating conversation with him. But
TK Thompson, who was the general manager of GR Productions, said yes, they brought in more than 20 million. And Teddy probably got less than 50,000 from all the work he did. He says that Gene was a drug dealer, and even when he was still at GR Productions, how he got arrested at Kids at Work was because he was trying to get, still running his business. He got arrested. Anyway. But we'll have a separate podcast.
That baseline comment
on the life and times of Gene Griffin.
We can wrap it up with that baseline comment. Baseline G.
The process wouldn't happen without. Yeah, but you know what? If even though I would say that the if you listen to Jack, all these singers, Teddy found them, and Gene, and he brought them into the fold. Marsha, how they all came in through Teddy. But anyway, we will. And I could imagine he would have had better deals. He would have had more money. He would have been able to do more stuff, and he probably would have been a lot more a different approach to his subsequent artists if he hadn't tried to recoup all this stuff back.
But anyway. Last point. Have you noticed as well, considering all the interviews you've done, New Jack Swing related, all the GR production artists they're very hard to get hold of or just disappeared in terms of like trying to get an interview with them. It's just like Redhead Kingpin, like you say, Rex and Effects, Abstract, Deja, maybe someone from Starpoint, Zan. We can't get hold of any of them. Maybe they have been tarnished from that period. They've moved on and don't want to talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah. As I said, nobody. I mean, as I said, people tend not to. Basic Black. They were there. They saw everything going around, and they said, they gave their opinions on stuff. But every time somebody has to bring up his name, it's never great. Look what he did at Uptown. He walked in there, slapped Andre Harrell, and I remember Carl West was was at Uptown during that time. He was in the office when Andre got slapped by Gene and shook the whole place, and they were like, do we still push this guy stuff? It just disrupted everyone. I'm sure he threatened everyone who had a GR's production signing, and people just to say, let it fail on his own so we don't have to deal with them anymore, because there was no goodwill on any album.
Like you say, Idris with that album, he literally walked away, didn't he? He didn't want to promote it or anything.
Yeah.
Down tools, didn't they?
No, because
which is a shame.
So
really.
It's just, and as I said, Vijay, the more you keep hearing everyone say the same thing from different, they're not all sitting in a room and saying it. Different people are all saying the same story.
It's hard for us to hear because we treasure these albums and we want to know about them. But when you find out the backstories and it's tarnished, it's not good. You know what I mean? It isn't good.
I will say one thing. If Gene had been more fair with Teddy, the music scene would have been very, very different. Just if you understand that sentence the way I mean it, if Teddy was paid more and he was given the kindness that he deserved based on his talent and looked after the way he should have been, I think Tone or somebody mentioned that earlier. I think it would have been very different. Can you imagine if it was it was GR Productions and they both got 50-50 of everything? How different would things have been? But then would Teddy have been as hungry as he was? Because when he came with The Future and Rex and Effect and Bobby and Michael, that boy was hungry. When Dangerous hit, all of us were like, holy shit, what the hell is going on? What is this album? I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now because it's so good.
But I would go back to say that if Gene stayed as the manager of Guy, just like the manager of U2 or Coldplay, who've taken them to new levels, if he just stayed, let the artist be the artist, not try and disrupt Teddy and Tim, and let the three of them, the original three, do their thing. Timmy was an exceptional writer, and he knew how to get the best out of Teddy. If they had just continued to write and produce together, they would have been as big as Jam and Lewis and Ellie and Babyface.
Yeah, they should have been. 100%. I agree. I agree with that.
Because Timmy's, he said he heard this. He said that he had Groove Me, and then within 15 minutes wrote the track. They were just writing, and so that's when you start to see that he just from where he just started to break things up, and how it just changed. So that would be
before,
it.
But we're going to get back to this top 10 now, but I'm going to ask you both one more question, which is Guy related. If Guy were to reform now and it was 3 people only, which 3 out of the 4 would you pick? Very important question, this.
I know all of them. I'm not answering this. I'm not.
Come on.
I'll do it offline. I'll answer.
No.
I can't do it here.
Pick 3.
I can't. No, it's too. No, I love them all, man. Guy on my group, man. I'm not saying a bad. I'm not, because if I leave one person out,
to come back and be a success, which 3? You've got to put your feelings aside in terms of coming back and being a success.
I think. Okay, you asked a question. I'll tell you how I think Guy could be successful in 2025 and beyond. Teddy has many contacts. I would get all of them back together, all 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And on the album, I would get, if Teddy can do the tracks himself, great. If he feels that he needs assistance, then get the assistance. And I would also have lots of cameos on that first album when they come back, like big cameos, like whoever, like Jay-Z, whoever, any Rihanna, anybody.
No, leave all them out.
No, I'm talking. No. You,
they can't be on the album.
To get them to a point where they are successful, and then once they've gathered the momentum, then focus on just doing an album like they've done in the past. But they do one album which is full of cameos, all 4 of them, and hit them with the sauce, hit them with the Guy sauce, and I think it would be incredible. I think it would be good. Still.
Could you pick 3 members, Nnamdi?
Timmy said that when you have groups like The Who, Rolling Stones, who could be reunited for millions of dollars each, it doesn't happen to black groups. We've seen New Edition come back as 6 and be successful. I think the magic source from the first album is Timmy and his writing and his vision, but I think it's hard to discredit what Damien brought to the group afterwards. And so Timmy has been open for all 4. I think the fans would say, you know what, you've had 3 albums and 4 people within them. I would probably have all 4. I couldn't exclude Damien because he did the feature. And he's done the 3 album, so I would have all 4 of them.
I think it's a very simple answer to this. You won't answer the question, VJ. You won't pick 3.
Nope.
You won't answer it. So I'm going to have to answer it for all of you out there. The 3 members you pick are Timmy Gatlin for the songs and the groove. You pick Teddy Riley for the production and the New Jack Swing. And thirdly, very controversially, you pick the one man who's holding Guy together, who's out there performing, who has got his head together. There's no ego there, who won't disrupt the group, who will carry the group forward. Let Aaron Hall, let him sail off into the sunset. Let's have them 3 members.
That's an interesting list.
It is controversial, very controversial. Let's have them 3 members because I think they'll carry it, and I think Damien deserves his moment in the spotlight. Aaron's had it; he's had it back then, and vocally, I'm only what I'm hearing recently, and he's get the voice. The voice isn't there. He could get it back. I'm not saying he's gone, but it's not there. But I would like to see Damien get all the shine now because he's always been on the back seat. He's always been on the back seat. I think he can be a lead singer of a group.
Yeah, I think Damien's voice is still
backing him up with songs and vocals. I think let's try that, and I think it'd be a winning formula. So there you go. That's my controversial choice.
I think that's a fair assessment. And I think if Aaron did come back, and like if there was a combination with all 4 of them, then Aaron would need a vocal coach, 100%. He needs to work on that voice, and I think he can get it right, and I think he can be stronger, but he needs You need a good vocal.
And I tell you, to all the viewers who are watching this, and there'll be people, I'm guaranteed there'll be people from the New Jack music community watching this. You get what you're hearing tonight is a very raw, uncensored podcast. This is as hardcore as it gets from us. You're hearing things here tonight that we talk about offline. We put it out here tonight. We getting raw, hardcore, uncensored opinion.
We're not this open on online. We're not. And this has become a very interesting podcast.
Let's get to the top. Let's get to the top 10 anyway.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between.
For even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for me, but just for me.
No. Okay, you okay?
They don't understand what Jonas boys are winning all spirits.
Play it.
These guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.